Alright, another response video to a couple of Pizza Boy videos. This guy is just so fucking irritating. So he really wants to push this subject. He wants to drag us into a conversation about, comparing races and sexes and, trying to figure out who's something and who's what and trying to quantify and define us. He says it needs to be studied, and I leave a big fat question mark after that. Why the fuck do we need to study it? He reads from some fucking cockeyed bullshit book that talks like we know. Yeah, a book full of shit. Okay, as soon as it starts using a word like altruistic and describing what insects do, it's a fucking book of bullshit. Oh, it's just so disgusting. This whole idea. Let's observe insects, and that way we'll learn something about human behavior. Now, what we do know is that whatever differences there are between the races and whatever differences there are between the sexes, the differences are so marginal and irrelevant that it's not going to make any changes in how we would treat each other or in social policy. There are irrelevant differences, and we know that most of those differences, if there are any differences, are a consequence of nurture, not nature, but nurture. You can nurture somebody out of their limitations, and you can nurture them into being limited. And I would argue that if you're an example of some sort of superior European race or something, you have been nurtured into fucktardedness. Okay, you are a loathsome creature, a dull, stupid ape. Because you haven't allowed your brain, you haven't liberated it to think rationally. It's still thinking with its fat belly. You're just a despicable human being. I mean, not to see the dangers here. Nazis were big on science. It was all big science when they produced their buckets and buckets of pop propaganda, that they dropped from airplanes with little pictures of the Negroid skull. That was science. We see that this shit can get perverted so fucking easily. It's a dangerous motherfucking subject, and you take it lightly as just such crap. And for you to even talk as if you're competent to talk scientifically or to talk with discipline when you've used despicable and disgusting rhetoric in describing, somebody else's disposition, you're a Rush Limbaugh. I mean, I don't know if you've said it before, but I mean, you've come close enough to saying something stupid like feminazi or some other nonsense. Your ideological bent is so fucking obvious, it's disgusting. And you're going to tell us that you're capable of being a disciplined scientist. My fucking ass you are. Yeah, like I said, you're just such a fucking jackass. So let's get to this bullshit. I mean, I guess I'll start with the last part first, which was that stupid book you were reading from, the last one while you're lying down. So it's a subject, you should take that seriously. A lot of scientists lie down when they do their science. God. All right. So anyway, yeah, this whole idea that we should find our identity in observing animals that aren't capable of being nurtured into anything. Okay, they're hardwired. We obviously are not. Okay, we're not born with a towel on our head or a yarmulke or white arrogance. None of that stuff. We're not born to any of it. We acquire it through experience and programming through our maturation. So we're a different kind of organism. And the simple truth is, when we invented the condom, the game of natural selection was over. Okay? Game over for natural selection. We then became the selectors. The human race took control over its destiny, all right, when it invented the condom. And we see, generally speaking, what happens is people who have money, people who have lives they find interesting and compelling, aren't as likely to have as many children. There's lots of social aspects of our existence worthy of noting, perhaps, but I don't see the point in studying it. We get the general idea, and there's just no point in emphasizing it. I mean, even between men and women, we've all heard the phrase, women are from Venus, men are from Mars. I mean, you don't need to know much more. Yeah, there's some biological differences, hormonal differences, but none of those differences stop a woman from being more of something than a man is, and vice versa. We can stray from that nature. We're not fixed or rigid, and so therefore there's nothing to be gained by this conversation, because we just have to respect each individual as that individual turns out. It's the end product, what the individual is, and those individuals can be very, very diverse, and that was even found in books like The Bell Curve and this other nonsense that you might call science, useful science. No, the only thing discovered is that the differential within one group is greater than the differences between the multi-groups. And so what's the fucking point? All right, because you can't predict anything. You can't declare anything with any kind of reliability. So there's no fucking point in this discussion, especially in the context of the danger of it. We've seen the fucking danger of it. 6 million fucking people slaughtered. 6 million Jews, and then let's, look what happened in fucking Russia. I mean, 20, 30 million people dead, murdered horribly. So fuck you. This is no fucking subject to be bringing up with your arrogance and your insensitivity. It's just grotesque. It's grotesque that you play these fucking games and people even comment in your video and play along with your joking. You should be just plainly ridiculed for what you are. You're a manipulative, petty little weasel of a person. There's not one human gear turning in your brain. They're all about pizza fucking cunt, and that's it. That's all you give a fuck about, and you want to keep rationalizing and justifying it. You have the brain of a fucking insect. You don't have. There's nothing to argue with you here, okay? This is not a serious discussion you want to have. You're just using this, all right? Because people they're not gonna argue your rhetoric. They're not gonna argue this conversation, so you get a free ride, because people are very uncomfortable getting into discussion about this kind of shit. So fuck you. Yeah, that's enough said. I mean, look, there's no point in going into all this crap, but this is not science, all right? We know what we are. We're 90% nurture, but there's definite biology, and we know we defeat the biology. Like I said, we don't have sex to have kids. Animals don't even have sex to have kids. They have sex to have sex, and the goddamn kids are a byproduct, okay? So nature took advantage of their inability to know why they were having kids. We know why, so we can stop it. So we've broken the biology. We've broken the evolution. We're not trapped by it anymore. We're not slave to fucking nature. We can be a slave to intelligence. And that's the big fucking difference between us and a goddamn termite, you asshole.